Okay, so let's get to the live demonstration. I'm going to switch to one of my TSO sessions, and I'm going to illustrate to you how you can add some of these rules. So let's execute this. This is the ISPF interface. Remember, I told you they can also use a batch interface. So let's add a filter, and in this particular case, I want to add a filter and say I want to know anytime there's any updates to sys1.palmlab. For the most part, we would recommend leaving these base values to what we've set them, the number of exceptions and also the time limits. These are pretty good working starting values. If you want to be a bit more aggressive, you can certainly tweak them. And they also are documented how these operands work. So let's hit the F4 button. That'll add that particular record, sys1.palmlab. Let's add another one, and let's go with this particular and say let's monitor any message that begins with 408i, and we can use wildcarding as well. So let's do the F4 and add that one, ICH 408i. And then let's go with one last one, and let's add my user ID. So, oops, that's not going to work. Let's go with use and go with BCVR0. That's my user ID. So I'm saying that the product must monitor any activity from user ID BCVR0. And I'll hit the F4 button. That'll add it, and there you can see them, sys1.palmlab, ICH408i, and you can see I've got a few others. Pretty easy to get rid of them or to make any changes. So for example, if I want to delete one of these, I can just go D there and that'll delete it for me. But there you can see some of the messages that I have in effect. So I'm ready to go. Let's bring up Curator. I'm going to bring up Curator here. I've got it running on one of my browsers. There's Curator. This is the product that we're sending events to. In fact, I've chosen to configure my agent to send events to multiple destinations. So I'm also sending events to something called Kiwi Syslog Service Manager. And I will show you that when I do the live demo now and generate some of these events, you can see the difference. This is just coming in a syslog format. So let's close that off. I'm going to go back to my emulator, and let me just point out what the plan is here. I'm going to be logging on, creating events, different SMF events from my mainframe on the mainframe called 031. So there you can see the log source is 031. As I do this, you're going to see the events pop up on the left-hand side on Curator. So let's kick it off. I'm going to log on generating a SMF type 80 event. And let's go with one called bad guy. And immediately there you can see it came up. The user ID specified is undefined. So truly real time. The events are generated almost immediately. So let's go with my user ID. Let's go with a bad password. And you'll be able to see immediately insufficient authority, invalid password specified. So let's log on. And now get the logon information about my user ID logged on. Remember, I've specified to monitor everything that's occurring from BCVR0's point of view. So all activity about my user ID is going to be recorded. Let's go to 3.4 and let's go to sys1.palmlab. And I'm going to edit sys1.palmlab. Let's create a member called test. And as you can see on the left-hand side, there's some activity going on there. Let's save that off. There you can see the DFSM add replace. By the way, you'll see some of them saying unknown. So just for demo purposes, we've created something called a DSM. The folks that's on the call today that know a lot about SIM will know about a DSM. But what we can do is we can send you a QID file. It's a text file that you can upload to your Curator, which basically makes the customization of some of these events a lot easier. So that's the reason why you're seeing some of them unknown. Let's delete that, and you'll see there's the delete. Okay, so that's worked. We now proven, or we are monitoring all events from a sys1.palmlab point of view. Okay, I'm going to go back and let's go to RACF. Option 3 is RACF. Just generate a few of these. I don't have access to all of these setups command. There you can see immediately insufficient authority. So just going to do one more. And let's close that off. Let's try generating a digital certificate. Again, I do not have access to this, but you'll see the messages are being generated and immediately popping up on Curator. Okay, let's get out of RACF and let's go and have a look at the log just to show you some of those right to operator console messages. And I'm just going to go back down here. There you can see user ID BCVR0. This Colin guy is somebody that we don't trust here, and he's generating a lot of these violations. So we need to look into what this guy was doing. So let me go back to TSO, and what I want to do is I'm going to conclude the presentation just to show you the configuration of the product and also some of the stats that it produces. I know some of the folks on the call today we can assist you from a performance and a pricing point of view. A lot of the enterprise SIMs, they bill you according to the amount of events that you are sending to the mainframe. So we can certainly help you with that. That's why maybe opening up the floodgates and just sending everything to the enterprise SIM might not be the best way to go. So I'm going to show you the configuration. Just browse the configuration. There you can see we RACF, and we're turning on, these are the events that we're looking for. Obviously, this is a vendor environment. We're showing it for illustration purposes, so it may not be what you want to do in your environment. We also got DB2 turned on some of the audit classes. There you can see some of them with the SMF 102s. Monitoring USS events. So also, let me just see. Yeah, I'm sending to Leaf. So that's the alert header that we're sending. That's the IP address and the name of the TCP IP starter task, the subtask. Yeah, I'm sending in a UDP format, and there you can see the 2 IP addresses that I'm sending to. Then also, this might be of interest to you. Let's assume you're now testing and you're sending events from the mainframe to your enterprise or your SIM, whatever the SIM is on the other end, and your gentleman on the SIM side is saying he's not seeing any events. Make this right to con operand turnet to yes, so that what will happen is then we will generate messages inside of the starter task in the address space, and anytime an SMF event or right to operator console message is generated, you will then see it in the starter task, and that'll give you a good idea as to the events of what events are being generated. So there you can see some of the events that we have here. And then lastly, just to show you the stats file, here you can see some of the stats. And this is just going to give you, oops, that's the wrong one. This is going to give you a good idea as to what events are being delivered. There's SMF 15s, there's some of them, and this might help you from a performance and also a pricing point of view to see how many events are being sent from the mainframe to the enterprise SIM. There's the 92s, that's the one I warned you about. Be careful about that one. And then we also have some security events that we can tell you. So here's the type 80s, 277 events was delivered. These were the TSO log-on, log-offs. There's some authority checks, define resources, set our ops commands. And this is some of the information that we can provide for you.